Drake's infamous ghostwriter Quentin reveals that Meek Mill asked him to ghostwrite, and he turned him down. What up, world? Your boy Challz Brown back again, talking facts. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Okay, man. Meek didn't say that part. We had a whole battle. We had a whole war. We had disc records and all kind of tweets and this and that aimed at each other, and mostly one-sided. When Meek went nuts on Drake because Drake didn't, what was it, that Drake didn't tweet his album or whatever the case may be. Meek Mill caught feelings with Drake, and he came out and exposed Drake as a ghostwriter. Let the reference track fly. I think he took it to Funkmaster Flex, played it on the radio. I don't know what happened, but all I remember is the whole scandal about ghostwriting, and Meek Mill set it off that you can't be this, that, and the third because you got a ghostwriter. We didn't even know who the ghostwriter was. We didn't even know Drake had a ghostwriter. And we found out that Quentin was putting on the Ritz because he was putting on the hits, putting all his raps onto Drake's songs, and came up with a hit. They messed around and sent the, you know what, it's still murky. Did they send the reference to Meek? I'm almost certain that Meek was given that reference after the fact. I don't think Meek heard the reference track himself. I'm not sure, but I think somebody gave it to Meek so Meek could expose. I'm not sure if it was DJ Drama or whoever. Somebody gave Quentin Miller's vocals, because Quentin Miller did the verse for Rico, that Drake did with Meek Mill. Meek Mill took that after he got upset with Drake, which I always found to be suspect. This is some stuff that I find suspect, in my opinion. I don't feel like you can do something with a dude, reap the benefits of it, and then when you get mad, you want to expose him and throw out his reference track and say he's a fake rapper because he has a ghostwriter, and the ghostwriter named Quentin Miller, and I'm going to expose him. I'm going to put out the tracks. To me, that has always been suspect. It's kind of like when NWA and Eazy-E broke up, right? Not Easy, I'm sorry. Eazy-E and NWA had a beef with Ice Cube, right? And then all of a sudden, Ice Cube is this, he's soft, he that, you ain't really from here, y'all was rocking with this dude for about 4 or 5 years. I never understood how you can come at a dude. It's like when Prodigy and Havoc fell out, right? From Mobb Deep. When Prodigy and Havoc fell out, all of a sudden, Prodigy ain't really from Queensbridge, he really a sucker, and we only let you down because you was cool with another dude. Nobody around here likes you. All of a sudden, he ain't worthy enough to be of Queensbridge. And we don't know why you're even on this Queensbridge album because you ain't from around here all of a sudden. Meanwhile, they end up getting back together, right? Salute to Mobb Deep for making it right before Prodigy passed. I actually did a show with them. I brought them to Rhode Island. That was one of my most successful shows, was when I brought Prodigy to Rhode Island. So salute to Prodigy. This was after the breakup. This was probably a year or not even that long before Prodigy passed away. Salute to Prodigy. But I say all that to say this. I never understood how a rapper that rocks with somebody for years, as soon as you get upset with them, now you want to air out all this dirty laundry and they fake and they phony. That by default to me makes you fake and phony. Right? You are who you with. You are the company you keep. Right? All of a sudden the dude is gay and this and that, and he like high heels and all of this stuff. Once the rapper's mad at you, he wanted to spit on your name and make you all kind of effeminate and this and that, right? But if you're running with him for 13 years or 15 years or 5 years or 2 years, and he's all this and that, he like high heels and all, wouldn't you? That mean you approved of it, right? So my whole thing is, I never understood how Meek could come out against Drake when he already put the record out knowing he didn't write it. Apparently, he knew he didn't write it from day one. So you still put the record out. You still made money off the record. You didn't say, hey, stop the presses. I don't want this record because he already put he got this verse. This verse was ghostwritten. He had a ghostwriter write the verse. I don't want it no more. He put the record out. So let me just say this. Now it comes out. Quentin Miller was on Vlad TV talking about how he wrote that verse. And I got a whole nother video coming up about how sad it is that Quentin Miller gets the brunt of this, because when you really understand, Quentin Miller was trying to be an artist. And when you hear about how he was they kind of played him low key because they asked for all his songs. He thinking they're going to sign him. Drake hearing his songs like, I like that song, I like this song, and starts taking the man's songs and putting his own verses on them. With the stuff that he wrote, he took the verse and he changed a little bit here and there, but he put this man's verse as his own and put the album out. So I'm going to talk about that in a whole nother video. But end of the day, they start to have this man writing, and he didn't really want to be a ghostwriter. It's a tragic story. It's a tragic story of a man who got labeled a ghostwriter who really wanted to be an artist. And so after this Rico thing comes out with Drake and Meek Mill, this whole beef and whole exposed thing, apparently, which we did not know, and I'm just finding out in 2022, and I know that beef almost 10 years old, right? Meek Mill asked him to be a ghostwriter right after he found out that he was ghostwriting for Drake. Allegedly. This is according to Quentin Miller, who at this point has no reason to lie. You know what I'm saying? At this point, everybody done try to beat the man up. He done lost a leg in a car accident. His career ain't where he wanted to be, right? And Vlad has him on. At this point, there's no need to lie. So apparently, according to Quentin Miller, Meek Mill asked him 3 different times to write for him. And the reason he said he didn't was because the vibe was off. He said he was in the room with Nicki Minaj, and both of them was ice grilling him and looking at him like sideways, like on some bad energy, negative, which is what he said. And I can believe him, because why wouldn't you just take the bag and move on? If the room feels this bad, it feels vindictive. It feel like they got you. You don't feel comfortable. Right? This is the kind of room you can get set up in. You cannot do your best work in a room like this. He said 3 different times they asked him, and 3 different times he turned him down. And DJ Drama started getting mad at him for turning him down. He said the 3rd time they offered him money, and he said, "No, I'm all set." Because this starting to sound like y'all in it for something else. And what he felt like, they were in it to get back at Drake. It was all a move to get back at Drake. And he said that Nicki was in the room all sour, and she was like, we need the room. You need to leave. So because they listened to his music, and they started saying, we need the room. So they could, I don't know what they was trying to cook up or scheme or negotiate or talk about, whatever. But he said he wasn't feeling them. Now, this is the part of the story Meek never told you. I don't know if somebody could tell me in the comments that Meek did say, oh yeah, I did ask him to write for me too. I never heard this. And this is why I say this industry is not what it looked like it is. It never was, but it's even worse than ever. Because this man has been getting ridiculed and bashed for 7 to 8 years, or however long this was, when he was exposed as a ghost. Meanwhile, he was never hiding. He was never hiding that he did this and didn't do that. They were hiding him, and when it came out, they tried to beat him up. Right? Remember when Drake sent these dudes to beat him up? They got him. They did beat him up. Because he was exposing that this guy had a ghostwriter. And at one point in time, that was very serious. Now nothing matters anymore. You could tell on your whole team, get them all arrested. You can do anything these days. Nothing, there is no morality clause in none of this. So apparently, him being a ghostwriter doesn't mean what it used to. So this ain't gonna hurt Meek like it would have a few years ago. As a matter of fact, this will probably be a non-story. Unless someone like me makes it a story, right? But my whole thing is Meek goes around with this, everything is real. I'm real. You not real. This industry fake. I'm deleting my Twitter because it ain't real. Everything is real. Meanwhile, you criticize this man. You got this man beat up in all different kind of altercations, and everybody in the hip-hop community won't give this man a chance artistically because he ain't nothing but Drake's ghostwriter now. That's all he is. He's nothing but Drake's ghostwriter. Now, had Meek said, oh, I wanted him to come out and write for me too. Mr. Me Too, right? Imagine that narrative, how that would have changed. Imagine that narrative. Imagine Quentin Miller being the guy who wrote for Drake and also Meek at the same time. Imagine he took that deal and wrote them records for him. It'd be a different Quentin Miller story. He'd be Neo right now. Neo wrote for everybody in the game and ended up blowing up himself after. But Neo wrote some of the biggest records in this business to ever hit the business. And people praised Neo for what he's done. Now, Quentin Miller got ridiculed for the same thing. Now, imagine had the narrative changed where he wrote for Drake and Meek Mill and we never heard about it. Never heard the stories of how he did this and that. This guy will probably be making the money that they making right now. Huh? What? He'll probably be one of the most sought after. They seek out producers, don't they? When Metro Boomin or Hit Boy make a hit record for this guy, 15 other guys come running with their hand out with their cash in it. Because they want the same sauce, the same formula, the same secret recipe. So this guy could have been on the low, eating crazy. As a matter of fact, he probably should have took the Meek Mill offer and made that money, then start writing for Nicki on the low. He's just too much of an artist to do it. He leads with his emotions. And he felt that energy in that room was off and he knew it wasn't going to work. But as a writer, he should have took that bag. And we'd be talking about a whole different story. Probably wouldn't even know who he is. Or if we knew him, ghostwriting might be cool by now. Because by now he would have wrote for 10 or 15 other rappers. On the low. At this point, he would have been the most popular ghostwriter in the game. So all of that, what happened to him is a tragedy, bro. And like I said, I got another video. But Meek did not keep this 100 with us. We did not know Meek wanted a ghostwriter. Meek made it like if you got a ghostwriter, you washed. Not knowing what we finding out now is he wanted that ghostwriter. He wanted that ghostwriter to write for him and he didn't write for him. Now it's a different narrative. We got to change the history on this. Let me know what you think in the comments. CLBMG.com. Go check that out. Clash, the podcast, every Wednesday all through the year. On my Facebook page, we go live. We talk about everything hip-hop. You can join in the discussion right in the comments. We get busy. I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Go down in the comments and see the merch page. We got a lot of new merch down there. It's getting crazy. I don't know. Let me know what you think about this Quentin Miller thing. It's a big story. I'm going to catch you on the flip side. Peace.
CLB.